I do too.
That's ambitious.
Is the wood just for your fireplace or is it heating the house too?
Just for the fireplace.
Okay. So you don't need 8 or 9 cords of wood then?
No. No. This is our second delivery of the season. We got a little bit in November, I think. They came and dropped it off, and so we're almost through it. But we'll let it dry for the season and have it for next year probably, because Amy and I are leaving for 3 weeks
Ooh,
on Friday.
Oh.
You guys are always going awesome places. Where are you going this time?
Hawaii.
Oh,
Good.
geez, that's going to be awful.
What island?
We land in Honolulu on Saturday, and then we're there for 7 days, and then we go to Maui for 6 days or 6 nights, and then Kona for 5 nights.
Oh, nice.
I went to Cleveland once.
Are you a scuba divers?
No.
You know, if you're in Maui, they have some great opportunities for you to get your scuba certification and dive at the same time. Really good diving classes.
The hotel we're staying at does have dive classes every day.
Yep.
So,
And it's great diving because there's a volcano out in the ocean, a crater that's a moon-shaped crater that's excellent diving.
awesome.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Hope everybody had a good day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Snow's melting. It can't be much better this time of year.
No, I guess not everybody can have a birthday today either. So I got that going for me.
All
Excellent.
right, congrats.
Oh,
Happy birthday.
happy birthday, Rod.
Happy 49th.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. March people are the nicest people.
That's clear without saying. Well, I appreciate you guys joining me, everyone. Thank you. We formed, the purpose of our subcommittee was to work collaboratively together with the school district, and also we've been engaged with the county land bank authority, and they're interested in talking to the district, and which includes this team, about moving forward with some plans and ideas for the property. And I think I described it in our last meeting pretty well. And any questions with the concept? I want to start with just the concept, understood and know what we're doing or suggesting.
Yeah, I think it's fairly clear.
Okay. So today I kind of a session to make sure we're kind of collectively in the same place regarding where we are moving forward. And again, the reveal of being engaged with Land Bank Authority. And we have had a green space plan developed. And so conceptually, we have an idea what that potential is there. And I believe it is good stewards of this process to talk about with the Land Bank Authority related to the development or potential development of that property. As we said in the very beginning of forming this committee and now subcommittee, is that the role of our neighbors to Jefferson, their opinions, thoughts moving forward is a commitment that the school board is interested in having and continuing. And so here we are, and just wanted to start out by, the concept of a survey has been done, in that we have an idea of our boundaries, and we have an understanding of how much acreage that we have there. And I think there is potential to do some things. And I had the ability to talk with our attorney this past week, again, related to how we could do a transition potentially, and what things that the district can put in place related to the property as far as contingencies and deeds. And so the first thing that we talked about is having, if we need that building down, and working with the Land Bank Authority, we talked about them paying to take that building down. And that would include us being involved with a title company. And so the cost of the demolition and site improvements would have to be dealt with a title company in escrow. And we can make a determination on how that would work. And then we start the development of a transition agreement to the Land Bank Authority, and which would include, the attorney and I talked about the potential square footage of each lot, and the square footage of residents. And we have some descriptors that we can apply to that also to be to get where we feel we collectively would like to be. And there's just one legal thing that we have to not include in any deed restriction, is that we couldn't deny a lawful education school or charter or academy. We couldn't deny them purchasing the property. That's a statute by legislation. So that's kind of the background so far. Again, I'd like to hear from the committee, get on the same page. So please, talk about the scenario I just laid out that we can talk about, work on, or just if there's other conceptual questions related to the property or overall bond, just let me know. So let's start.
About what you just said, I didn't quite catch that about working with the title company. The maps would put money in escrow, is that?
No, we would not want the Land Bank Authority to put it in escrow.
Okay,
And then the transition would be complete, and the money would go to the district once that it meets taking the building down and site improvements that were described in our agreement.
okay.
I would like to be able to show the survey, maybe work on some conceptual ideas of in the future related to that. I think Randy may be able to talk to us about zoning in the area. I know I've heard in the past that we would like the deed restrictions that support the zoning there. But it also locks in some certainties. So
I think Randy at our first meeting talked about being an R2, which I think is medium density as opposed to low density, which is everything west of Cedar.
Correct.
Is that right, Randy?
That is correct. Yep, I just pulled up the map and it is
Okay.
zoned R2.
So how big a lots? Well, how many? It's 5 acres, I think, right? So how many lots are we talking about for the whole piece of property?
So in the R2 district, the minimum lot size is 6,000 square feet
Okay,
for a single family home.
okay. 6,000 square feet.
And
Is
the minimum lot width. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Ron.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Minimum
Just wondered if in R2 is there other things besides single family housing for R2?
There are. Yep. So uses by right, you could do a duplex or a multi-unit. And both duplex or multi-unit structures minimum lot size is 10,000 square feet. And for both duplex and multiple unit, the lot width on the street is 80 feet. Single family is 60 feet wide for the street frontage. And the R2 zoning has a minimum living area of 960 square feet.
That's pretty small.
Yeah.
Isn't 960 the same as in R1? Isn't that also the minimum for R1?
I think so.
I believe it is, but I'm not 100% sure, but I believe
It is not.
960, it's not
No, R1, the minimum living area is 1,500 square feet.
1,500. Okay.
Wow.
That's a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that 960 was grandfathered into some of, because I know that we have some R1 that's nowhere near that size homes. So
Yes.
it must have been grandfathered when they made the R1.
Mhm. So you can only build on the street then, the three streets?
It
Is
has
that
to
right,
does have to have
Randy?
frontage. Yes.
Okay. So then that creates a kind of a landlocked area kind of behind you there.
It does on the locust. Yep.
Locust, where Locust ends.
Now,
But if it's a development and you do a planned unit development for housing, then there are some opportunities there to make some concessions where you could have a possible loop drive going in and have housing going around the outside. It just depends on how it's going to be, what the option is for development. But if it's a planned unit development, single family homes, then you could actually potentially have, a cul-de-sac basically. And then be able to, more effectively use the total property.
that may be a position that, that we hear from the Land Bank Authority.
Correct.
Yeah, and that, how many square feet are in the acre, in the 5 acres? And could you just say Nome's lot size in the development here would be less than, 6,000 square feet? And then the developer has the ability to structure or provide infrastructure for that cul-de-sac. So no matter what the configuration, what happens to the property, I imagine the land bank would, not just limit it to street frontage at this time, is what I'm saying.
And there,
So tell me then, if, when we're talking about deeded restrictions, can you violate the zoning? In other words, can you ask for more? Like a larger lot size, larger square footage of a home and that sort of thing?
yes,
Okay.
It's a good question.
you
I think
cannot
that's-
go. You cannot go.
You can't
lower.
go less. You can't go below. You
Right.
can ask for more.
But a deed restriction, you can, and I'm not an attorney, but you can restrict activities there, and I believe you can. I believe you can limit the lot size or the number of lots to be parceled out of that one parcel.
Yes.
Because I kind of think that's what the full neighborhood committee was pushing for, was something larger than 900 square foot homes. What other things can you restrict? Obviously, you get into like HOA restrictions. Can you do short-term, long-term rental restrictions, and can you affect the sale price of a piece of property with deeded restrictions?
I'm
like,
not sure how you could do that, but you could, I believe you can do the short-term rental restriction. I believe that might be something that you could work into it, that if it's a rental, it'd have to be at least a minimum of a year. I don't know if we have any, is there any restrictions anywhere in that community that does not allow for a homeowner to restrict to 1 year or a rental? I don't think we have
I
any,
don't think
right?
so.
I
Mm-mm.
don't think so.
Maybe thinking in ranges for square footage of single family housing. Would that, I don't know what that square footage would be, but would that be a, I guess it's just the minimum. I guess anybody
Yeah.
can build what they want from code.
Mhm.
You know,
think
I
that-
lived in California and the average 3-bedroom homes was around 1,200 feet,
Mhm.
only because of the cost of land. But a 1,200 square foot home is kind of the minimum. I would say that it's a reasonable minimum for a 3-bedroom.
I think
960 would be a 2-bedroom at most.
Small.
Yeah, because what our Habitat home, 3 bedrooms are what, almost 1,200 square feet, right? It's
Above 11, yeah.
I think it's just surprising though, with it being the R2, zone R2, that it's allowing for the multi-units in that area, you know. I'm surprised by that.
Well, because if you look to the other side, I believe you already have some duplexes and apartments. There are some of the older homes in that area already that are already split. So that was probably why they made that decision to be R2, especially
Yeah.
going towards
Oh.
Maple Street from that area. There's quite a few, I believe.
And towards River, a couple of blocks too.
Yeah,
Yep.
there's the Victorian homes. It's a little different when you're talking about the nice old lumber baron Victorian homes
Right.
versus a brand new multi-unit going up.
I have questions related to basement, non-slab houses, those kind of, at least crawl space or some sort of standard of construction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, does it cover any of that, or?
I know you can, it has to, you could stick built, I don't know for any other better term than that. But there are some restrictions related to type of housing.
Well, it's funny because I think it's on the other side of Bryant, where Cedar goes around, that little, you know what I'm talking about, Randy.
Yeah.
And there's that long, huge house.
Yeah.
Phonics, yep.
Right. And then right across the street from it, there's, I think that was a modular that was put in it. I don't know if that's on a basement or not.
So I think that's manufactured. And
Okay.
so manufactured is steel frame that has a trailer title. And modular is wood frame that comes in pieces, 2 or more, that gets trucked in. So modular is still considered stick built in most vernaculars. It's built inside, it's built to the current building codes. And I've seen like Cape Cods that are modulars that come in 6 pieces and they crane them in together and they tie them all together and boom, they're done. They're assembled on site, but they're
Mhm.
built in a controlled environment. You just have some adjoining walls but they're all wood framed, just like a house that would be stick built, but it's not, the materials aren't out in the elements.
Okay.
But
And what was the other term that you used?
manufactured? Yep.
Manufactured. And that's
Manufactured
with the
is
steel. Okay.
steel frame, comes with its own axles, and that's titled as a trailer.
Okay.
I just guess just conceptually, with regard to deeded restrictions, do they ever have any flexibility to them, such as, say, whoever then holds the property, the land bank, or they sell it to a developer or whatever, say they don't sell, the lots don't sell, or only 2 lots sell. Can you put restrictions on with regard to temporal aspects, such as if lots aren't sold by such and such a period of time, that then the property could be green space or recreational space or something else?
I don't know how that would work. I mean, once somebody buys the land, it's their land. We could put something in there that if a lot isn't sold, that it would have to be maintained and the lawn cut and addressed so it wouldn't become blighted. But I don't know that you could say that it had to become public space.
Yep.
But I'm not a lawyer either, so.
Yeah, it could revert back if you put something at, if the land bank, that the district be offered the opportunity to buy it back with
Yep.
some sort of standard for that, be it time or conditioned and I'm not looking for a boomerang here, Sue.
Yeah. Right. I have a question, Mr. Stoneman. Have you had a chance to talk to the city at all about Sands Park and how this could potentially play into this overall Jefferson School project?
We haven't. We've been talking, as the school district is part owner, half owner of the park. And so there is an independent committee that is responsible to the park. And we've talked about development, taking the tennis courts out and doing some changes that would help suit the property for 700 kids being there. So I think now that spring's here and restrictions are being lifted, we can see where the removal of the tennis court was our beginning initiative there, the 2 courts.
I thought you needed more courts.
We
What
do.
we do, but those are so beyond repair that they need to be taken out and either replaced or other courts invested in somewhere.
Mhm.
It would.
I know Parkdale has a pickleball. I think we need a presence in the city of pickleball too. But it would be nice to have 4 more courts of sorts somewhere in the community.
Mhm.
Yeah, the city did look at that, and it would cost more to bring those courts up to standard than it would to just do a fresh build.
And
I
I'm
guess
not,
that pickleball is the fastest growing sport in the country right now.
yeah, I think it would, some courts near some existing courts that are in pretty good shape, maybe the wise investment. I'm not sure the Sands Park is the location for that development. But those are conversations to have. Anything else on your minds?
Well, I guess I wondered if the land bank had experience. I know that looking at other land banks around the country and the state, that they get part of their income is from foundation grants. And I wonder if I know ours is pretty new, but I wonder if we've had any experience with foundation grants and working with foundations for development of the property in some other way as opposed to residential.
At our local county, I'm not too sure on that. I know that there is a lot of federal dollars in the system right now, afforded to the county and the city, I imagine, for development or taking down. I think they're pretty confident for the source of taking the building down and repairing the site. I think the land bank is very confident that that money is there to do so. So, and that's, I want to, if this is the route we're going, I want to get this lined up. So as we move forward and don't need the property after a school year or so, that we're all figured out and ready to go. Because I think the money's there.
The last figure I heard was 4.2 million that the county's getting has I think it's from the ARPA funds.
ARPA.
I think it was 4.2.
Really? Wow.
And the land bank, I believe, is going to be getting $1 million of that, or in some fashion is what.
Huh.
So we talked about if, there's the appetite and the money for getting this done. We discussed the cul-de-sac of some sort. I think there's money for infrastructure for development is my thought also.
But as far as public space dollars, this is for tomorrow, we're going to be voting on an opportunity to get matched funding for the Veterans Park. And we've been trying for 6 years to get money to repair Veterans Park, and it's falling apart. So money for public space is not easy to come by as far as just parks. If you have a project that has some revenue generating possibilities, they're a little bit more willing to and provide funding. But for just public space, it's not easy. Like I said, it took 6 years, and we're hopeful, we're not even guaranteed, but we're real hopeful that we're going to get matching funds to do Veterans Park. And that's the other side of the river from the North Channel over to where the Veterans Pavilion is.
That'll be great. Just to reflect a little bit, it's R2, medium density, and we know that single family square foot lots are 6,000. Randy, correct me if I'm wrong as I move forward.
Correct.
Deluxe or duplex and multi-units, it requires a 10,000 square foot lot, right? Right.
Yep.
And 80-foot frontage for the multi for road frontage and 60 for single family. 960 square feet. That we feel that's small for a single family. And then I have some questions here, larger than scope. I think we've answered that as far as limitations for deed. I have short-term, long-term rental and seeing if that can be a part of that. And, I'm just wondering in this environment, if that's going to be a sticking point. I just wondered. Go ahead. Someone.
I was going to say, now I thought that, limiting it to single family would be part of the deed restriction.
Yeah, I'm just reflecting. There's no recommendation,
on the R2.
just my notes.
Yep.
And so I'll ask about short-term rentals, standardized type of construction. I have manufactured. I think I have an understanding what that is now. Different than module. And flexibility to change the deed. So if something's being requested, I think if a circumstance was arising related to easing some deed restrictions, it'll have to come back to our entity to do so, the district. And but is there related to flexibility for any other reason we can think of? Talk to the land bank, just confirm their experience with these kinds of transactions. I think it might be limited. Our council for the district works for several districts in this capacity, but he also works for municipalities, cities. And so he's handled these kind of transactions in similar ways to a great experience. So we'll understand what the land bank is coming from. And one other question I have for the land bank is, what means do they have to mow and have maintenance to the property while it is for sale, or after, whatever its stage it is after they take ownership? I'll be very interested to have an understanding how that's done.
So Ron, you're saying maps could eventually, if they wanted to, ease the deeded restrictions. Is that true?
I don't know. That's a question that I have.
And the other question is, can the land bank at some point, because I've read where they have some special powers with the ability to clear title or even vacate or extinguish back taxes. And so if that'd be something I'd be very interested in knowing.
I did ask our attorney that, and I will re-ask, but I have a degree of confidence there. And I hope the government doesn't have that kind of authority, but you never know.
What I was just thinking on the, if we're talking about sizes of homes, if we limit the 960 to no more than a 2-bedroom home, I think we may be gaining the same kind of thought that we have in mind. The only reason I say that is I think that area would be very conducive to retirees building homes. And, again, as you get up in years, smaller is sometimes better. And, a 960 square foot 2-bedroom home might be just about right for a retirer. Again, I'm in almost a 3,000 square foot, home built in the 1860s. And, I wouldn't mind finding something a little bit more manageable and easier to get around. A nice single story 2-bedroom home with a basement might be just the thing. So, and I'm sure that there's some other retirees. And I don't know if you heard, but Michigan might become more conducive for people making Michigan as a retirement home, because the governor has in her budget proposal eliminating the retirement tax over a 3-year period starting next year.
I just wonder, will that limit the market, the future market of those homes? I guess there's always, I'm looking at a deed restriction that if you occupy the home, you have to have 3 school-age children.
Well, that kind of takes the retirees out of it, doesn't it?
Well, that's why I said it. That's why I brought it up.
And you might be far and wide to try to find that in America. So I think the average is 1 child per household, isn't it?
Yeah, it's low. It keeps dropping.
Yeah.
So is there any discussion on the square footage in R2? You feel 6 and 10 is a reasonable number? Should we consider something more or less? Would you like to know more related to the overall square footage and the survey to have an understanding, or does that matter? What do you need on that?
Well, I think more information would be better. My sense from the other meetings, just trying to get the pulse of the neighbors, was that bigger was better, that they would like larger lots. They wouldn't like 960 square foot homes. I agree that appeals to a lot of us seniors, but there's no guarantee that that's who would build them. And then you're
Right.
stuck with that. And I don't think that would fly with, doesn't matter too much what we decide, but I don't think that would fly with the rest of this committee.
I think part
I
of the
agree.
discussion on lot size, if there were to be a development, if this is going to come through, that my feel also was the consensus was to keep with the consistency of the neighborhood.
Mhm.
And I'm looking at the R1, which is right across the street from, west of Cedar. So the R1 zoning standard minimum lot area is 15,000 square feet.
1,500
Mm,
or 15,000?
15,000.
50,000. Yeah.
Yep.
And a minimum lot width of 100 feet. And a minimum living area of 1,500 square feet. And I think as a committee, if we were to make a recommendation to the whole group, somewhere between the R1 and the R2 to restrict to be a little bit larger lot size, but not quite to the R1, but make it fit in with both zoning districts to,
Something like 1150, 1180, 1200 square foot.
Yep.
So
somewhere around in there, a happy
Yep.
medium.
okay,
12,000 would be good.
1199, Teresa.
Yeah, well, like I said, I think isn't it 1150 is about what the minimum is for the habitat? I don't know exactly what that square footage is, but that would
Oh.
probably be,
I'm sorry, I was talking about square footage of the lot
lot.
size.
the
Oh,
lot.
lot size, yeah.
Yeah.
For that, if it if we're doing the same kind of
Between 6 and
flow
About
between the
10,000 square
two,
feet.
I would say
10,000.
8,
Yeah.
9, what was it?
I was thinking 10.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
10,000 square foot would kind of be right in the medium, and that would basically be then if it was it's kind of matching what a duplex size would be.
Mhm.
Although I don't know that we would want to include duplex, right? We
But-
want it to be single
Correct.
family.
So we're talking about the lot size.
Yeah.
Which is 10,000, we're talking about 10,000 square feet.
Right.
But then the building itself, I think the R1 was minimum of 1,500 square feet. I think 1,500 is the minimum that, we should.
But I will
look
tell you, that's still, like I said, that's even bigger than the standard California build today. I mean,
I don't know.
In
California.
California, that's
Exactly.
I
This
know,
is
I know,
Michigan.
I understand it's different property values, but
Yeah.
still, it's I think if we were around 1,200, I think that still makes for a pretty decent sized home.
So I see a pattern on R1 of 15,000 square feet, 1,500 square feet. How about 12,000 and 1,200? Is that too big of a lot, or does that seem
Well,
reasonable?
I think the 10,000 square foot lot would be reasonable, especially we don't know how it's going to be laid out, and if it needs to be a cul-de-sac, you're going to have some flexibility. Some lots are going to be bigger than others because you're going in a semicircle, right? So if you've ever been in those cul-de-sac developments, how they're laid out, varies. Some are more pie shaped and they're going to be larger than others. So you may have a little bit of flexibility. So if we make
They'll
them
still
10
They
require
still have the street though.
80
On all,
80 feet.
80-foot frontage minimum.
and we're saying 80 feet frontage on the street, not the cul-de-sac, correct?
Well, that would be the street if it is a cul-de-sac.
We're counting that, okay, because I'm just thinking of how it's laid out.
Now, is that different in R1? What is the R1 road footage?
100.
100 feet.
It's only 20-foot difference.
Well, but it's actually 60, isn't it? Or it's 60 to 80 square foot, isn't it?
80 is
60.
the
60 for a single in R2, and we're going from 60 to 80. 80 is for the duplex or multi.
So now, are we allowing multi-units on a lot?
No,
I would say not. I would say that defeats the concept that we're looking at. Single family homes with a backyard and a porch kind of thing and
Well, we brought up the two different footages for multi-unit, so I was just checking.
Right.
Yeah.
well, I'm
So
just
we're
using the 80 foot as a minimum so that if you, like I said, when you're going around a pie shaped, space, they vary.
Okay, so I have a 10,000 square foot lots with 1,200 square foot homes and 80 feet of road frontage,
Minimum.
all minimums.
And then that way, you know, again, it would be interesting to see how a developer could then use and create, you know, how many actual building sites would be available with that criteria. And then it would give us something to really look at and work with.
Yeah, that, and the developer, that's why I think developers may have different ideas for configurations, not just
Mhm.
one. So we
Sure.
gotta come up with just lot size and let them have at the configurations. So,
Okay.
so I think because we don't know the configurations, going a little larger on the lots was a good idea. And same with the road frontage. And I think 1,200 square feet is a reasonable home to build for a family. And I don't, I'll be asking about crawl spaces and basement. Is that still a valid question? Okay, construction,
It depends on how much you want to leak.
right? Okay, and I want, there is a lot that the district owns across the street. And we're talking to the land bank about that piece of property also.
On
I
what
went-
street is that?
There's a camper in the lot right now,
Okay, is that,
Elm.
and it belongs
Okay.
to your cousin Andy Huber, I think, Teresa.
it does, it does. Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to have that towed.
Oh, yeah, we've got ideas for it. So I will, I want to schedule a meeting with the Land Bank Authority, and I'd like to do it in person in the district. I'd like to do it next week or maybe the week after.
Week after.
Unless
spring
we're all
break.
going to Hawaii, then we should probably meet here. So
Yeah, that week after is spring break, Ron.
I'm around, but if others aren't, you're not, lucky
No.
duck.
Where are you going, Teresa?
I'm going to the happiest place on earth.
Flint,
Oh, boy.
Yay!
Flint?
No, I'm going to Disney.
Disney.
Yeah. Disney and Universal Studios.
I thought it was Stronach.
yeah, there you go.
That's the second.
And I think what we'll do, I'll check with the attorney on a couple of questions that we have. And then just have the same kind of conceptual conversation with the land bank team, or if it's just Rachel Nelson, and present our thoughts on it and see if they think that's reasonable at all. And then we can ask questions related to the land bank authority as a unit. And I'll be asking questions related to upkeep and care if this transaction goes through. And also their faith that they'll have finances when the day comes to get this done. So I will let you know next week, okay? Any thumbs down for next week or?
Yep.
Good?
Next week is fine.
All right, I will, before Wednesday, I'll let you know what day that is. And any concern meeting at the district, we can meet in the big room and talk it over. Sound good?
So
That'll be good.
All
Any-
right.
Any day but Thursday or Friday, Ron, if possible.
Okay, avoid Thursday and Friday.
Yeah. Thanks.
If you could avoid Tuesday, that's City Hall.
Monday and Wednesday are kind of bad too, I think.
I'm washing my hair on Wednesday, so I don't know.
There you go.
So it looks like Wednesday or Monday. Probably shoot for Wednesday. Is that going to be reasonable?
We have
Yep.
work, do we have work study on Wednesday?
No, I think we
No?
got one more week. No,
Okay, yep,
no, the 23rd. Yeah, we do.
okay, so
But we
maybe
could meet
we could
before
meet
it.
earlier. Yeah,
Mhm.
that'd be perfect.
Okay,
Good.
Okay.
I
all
should be
right.
available if you've got Zoom.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh.
Can you do Zoom underwater like that?
I don't know about the time change, but I'll send a Zoom invite in the attached to the invite, okay?
Sure. As long
Great.
as it's gonna be I'm gonna be 6 hours behind, so noon here will be 6 a.m. there, but if it's after that, it'll be fine.
Okay, so yeah, try to do it, 5:30 to 6:30 sounds like,
Yeah.
okay, all right. So pencil that in for Wednesday.
All righty.
I'll see what Rachel has on her agenda. Shannon, anything?
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, again, thank you for all joining, and I appreciate your time and your thoughts and efforts. This may be an opportunity for the community, so we'll see where it goes.
Yep.
You know what? I do have one question. I'm sorry.
That's
Would
all
you
right.
like for me to provide a summary of this meeting and then again next week to the full Jefferson committee? Or do you think that we wait until next Wednesday to share out this information?
Yeah, I think we're in a bit of a negotiation environment, and I think proposals, I think we have our best interest of our community and our neighborhood. So why don't we give an update after our initial meeting with the Land Bank Authority and
Okay.
give
Yeah.
them the opportunity to provide us feedback. I don't want to preempt our quest here, I guess.
Yeah, and because I was thinking we've got a lot of questions, but not a lot of answers right now. And after next Wednesday, we probably will have a little bit better feel for how to answer those questions. So,
I agree.
okay.
Does that
perfect.
sound good, team?
Yes.
Sounds
Sounds
good.
good.
All right.
Happy
Yeah.
birthday to you.
Hey,
Happy
thank you.
birthday.
It's
Happy birthday.
it's Cherry Pie Day, right? Pie Day.
Oh,
Oh,
Anyway,
Pi Day,
that's an
right?
old t-shirt. That's it. Thank you, guys. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.